Hi guys and welcome. Today's video is going to be on showing you how to maintain your machine, showing you how to oil it, clean it, get the dust, de-dust it, and basically just general maintenance. If you do this on a regular basis, you're going to be looking after your machine and it's going to be looking after you. How often do you do this? It all depends on how often you use it. Now, this record machine of mine doesn't come out very often. This is my spare one that I keep it because for the main reason that it does my buttonholes, and I'm actually training my daughter on this one. Let's get started. Right, so I'm going to get straight in with oiling. I'm going to put a drop there, and that's for the wheel. Okay, so the drop there, got a drop in there, drop on there, and then I'm going to put a little bit in the areas here, drop in these two holes, and this is your stitch dials, your speed dials, and then I've put a little bit on here. I'm not going to put lots, and this is just, these are all your cogs for your different stitches. Okay, now it's not too long ago since I oiled this, so I'm not over facing it. And then on here there's a little hole there. I turn the wheel, you can see the hole, and that's where the oil goes. And then I'm going to put a little bit in here. Okay, and then here there's a drop of oil going, and there's a hole just there. Can you see it? There's oil going on that. And then where the piston is, where the needle goes up and down, I'm putting that at the top, in the middle, and just a little bit there. Then I'm going to go in, and there's a piece of the machinery there that turns, and a piece there that turns. So basically you're wanting every piece of machinery that's moving, oiling. Now that feels, I can just tell it's all nice and smooth by how it's turning. Okay, so that is the top of the machine. So I'm going to replace the top. Just put this back on, close that, and then I'm literally just going to screw the screws back down. Okay, so now onto the cleaning of the bottom of the machine. I've already took the needle plate off by removing one screw from the front, one screw from the back, and placing it to one side. Now I'm just going to try and show you there at the back. Can you see that brass here? I'm struggling to get you to show it. You can see there's actually two holes on that I'm going to be oiling. You can just see them there. I'm going to be putting some oil in there, and then I'm going to be removing this plate. Okay, so what we're going to do now then, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove these two plates. I'm then going to take the bobbin case out and put it to one side, and then I'm going to remove these two pieces. Okay, now this piece here, you've got a little bobbly bit on the bottom, and there's a groove at the bottom here from where I've took it out, so I need to make sure that when it goes back in that that's fitting into that, and then that'll be lined up properly. So I'm just going to lay that down as such. So I'm going to give this a bit of a, to get the fluff out, fluff from under here, and then I'm just going to put my oil in the two areas that I've said at the back, one there, and I'm going to put a bit just behind that bit that's moving. Then you put it up and down just so you've making the lubrication go in. I'm then going to put this in, hold that in place until I've got this one in. Okay, it is tricky this, I'm not going to lie to you. So get in there, get in there. Let's have a look. Click in. Let's just, right, so let's click that in there. Well, that's not in, so I just need to turn that around a little bit. That's it. That is it. Okay, so let me just turn that so that I know it's lined up. Yep, that's good. I'm going to put my bobbin case back in, and then I'm going to just give underneath the needle plate a bit of a dusting. Replace that, and let's get the screws back in. Get me bigger on job, more manageable. Okay, that's done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of fabric under there, put the foot down, because the piston that we've oiled, the oil is going to run down that and it will run down onto the needle, but that will just remind you the next time you use it, just to give this area a wipe and the needle so you're not getting oil on your next project. Right, slot that back in. Okay, so that, why is that loose? Just bear with me a second. Yeah, so that is all finished. That's all done now. I can use it for a while until it needs doing again. How often do you oil your machine? Well, it all depends on how often you use it. This one doesn't come out very often, like I said, so this one might get oiled twice a year, because basically I only use it for doing buttonholes on if I need to do them. I am training my daughter on it, but obviously she's not been here, so if she comes at Christmas and she decides she wants to do a bit of sewing, that's done and it won't need oiling after she's used it. But as a rule, my main machines, which is my Duke and my overlocker, I will oil those pretty regular, because I do a lot of sewing for myself, for my kids. I do alterations. Now, needles, I don't change my needles that often. If I was doing a special job like altering a bride's dress or bridesmaid dresses, and that's silken, or you're working with satins and silks, chiffons, anything that's fine, you do need a finer needle, and the tip needs to be sharp. So I would put a new needle in every time for doing that type of job. When I'm doing every day sewing, if I was sewing denim or cottons, I don't need to change my needle often. Now, I've never ever had my machine serviced, because I do take care of them myself regularly. I've only once asked somebody to service my overlocker because it wasn't working right, and when it came back it still wasn't working right. So if you know how to maintain your machine, you're going to get years and years out of it. Now, if you've got a computerized machine, it's a different ball game. Then you need to go to your manual and basically check out what that is telling you to do. Whereas this, it's your plain run-of-the-mill machine. It has got all stitches on. I can do zigzag, blind hemming on it. There's other stitches, fancy stitches for like if you want to do neck round, and my buttonholers. I will one of the days at some point do you a video on some of the stitches and show you how to do them by getting some fabric and showing you how to use those certain stitches to get the most out of your machine. And this is where I say, if anybody is buying a new machine and they get offered free sewing lessons on that machine, take them. Now, I know we're in COVID times, but say, can I please have them once we're able to do so? This particular machine, my husband bought me when I was about 27, 28, and it came with free sewing lessons, to which I snatched their hand off with that. And it was an elderly lady that I kept going into the shop, and I did go about 7 times, and I went 1 till 2 o'clock every Saturday afternoon, spent this hour with this lady, and she would take me through how to maintain it. She taught me how to use stitches, so she had fabric, and she'd mock out that it was a net you were doing and a certain stitch. She would show me how to do this, then how to turn it, how to top stitch it, and then basically by the time I'd finished with the sewing lessons, I knew my new machine inside out, and I could use it to the full potential of what it could do, and I did. So there was one lady, and it's a few years ago, and she bought a new machine, and I said to her, did it come with free lessons? She went, it did come with free lessons, but I didn't bother. So she would have got very little out of her machine. She wasn't young, so she's got a few years on her, but even so, to go and have those lessons and take the time out to learn what your machine is capable of is priceless. So if you ever get the opportunity, and a lot of people, if they're like sewing shops, will offer that service, take them. Go as many times as you want to go until you feel comfortable that you know what you're going to do with your machine and get the full potential out of it. Let's talk a bit on safety. I know a few people are actually frightened of using the machines. And you know what? There's no reason for you to be frightened of it, because it's your machine. When you're setting it on your stitches or whatever, you're in control of what that machine is going to do. Now, if it's a speed thing, then let me just turn my machine round. If it's a speed thing, on your machine here, on my machine anyway, you'll have a speed, right? And all you do with that, if you don't want it to go as fast as what it's going, lower it down. It will go a lot slower, and then as your confidence comes, just gradually keep making it a bit faster at a time, until you're happy and comfortable with the speed that it goes. And that's basically it. You're in command of your machine. It's going to do what you're telling it to do, and just enjoy it. It's there for you to enjoy, get the most out of it. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned about safety and getting a needle in your finger. Now, I'm talking from experience, because I actually did get the needle in my thumbnail when I worked in the sewing factory, and it was basically, I'd been chatting with a friend in front, and then after we'd done chatting, I went straight to the machine, and straight away, as I went to put the fabric under, put my thumb under, and the needle went in it. And that hurt like hell. From the moment I did it, right up to when I went to bed, it was as if somebody was hitting it with a hammer all day long, and I think I was about 19 when that happened. So a lesson to be learned. When you are sewing, do not be distracted. You need to have 100% concentration on what you're doing, because if it's your partner, your kids, if somebody comes in the middle of doing your job and says, come and talk to me while I'm doing it, but you're looking at her, then you're looking at your machine, looking at her, this is when it's going to happen. Also, changing a needle, power off. Changing your spool, power off. Think of any instance that you could get the needle in your finger. Don't put it there, have your power off, because it is easy to do, and seriously, it hurts like hell. So always safety, safety, safety. If you're in any doubt, just turn the power off while you're doing it, and then switch it back off when you're ready to go again. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and get some insight out of it. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you've liked the video, okay, bye for now, and see you soon.